Welcome to the Instagram stories for Monday, October 28th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. On Mondays, we talk about what the head of Instagram shared on his Ask Me Anything. There's a ton of good information. Let's dive right in. First, Adam Mosseri started by making a post all about why you should post to stories. In the clip I'm about to play, he explains that stories are not shown to people who don't follow you. People who don't follow you are likely to see your reels from the Explore page, but stories are really geared toward people who already follow you. Here's the clip.
Why you should post to stories. The best way to maximize reach is actually to post reels or carousels to feed, but stories are an important way of engaging accounts that already follow you. They're not going to help you get new followers. They're not going to help you reach accounts that don't follow you yet, but they do deepen your connection with people who already have decided to follow your account. And we see this in the data. Creators that post to stories often see less unfollows than creators who don't. I personally use stories to post photos of what it's like to work here, to be in the office, travel, what's going on with my family, that kind of thing. Because what we see regularly is that behind the scenes content and day in the life type content tends to do best on stories. So hopefully this is helpful. More tips to come.
Key takeaway from what he just said. New followers come from reels and carousels. Keeping your existing followers, use stories. Side note that I'm going to add, use stories to ensure the people who follow you see your reels that you worked hard on. Okay, let's move on to the Q&A portion of the show. We are going to dive into the most interesting question. I'm going to play Adam's answer, and then I'm going to give a bit more follow-up information. Question, do stories lose quality over time? Mine look blurry in highlights. This person is asking about the visual quality of their stories and the way they appear on Instagram when part of highlights, meaning that they are stories that have been likely posted some time ago and they wanted to highlight them.
In general, we want to show the highest quality video we can when someone is watching a story or a reel or a photo, or in that case it's a photo, but still. But if something isn't watched for a long time because the vast majority of views are in the beginning, we will move to a lower quality video, and then if it's watched again a lot, then we will re-render the higher quality video. We also, if we are serving a video to someone on a slow internet connection, we'll serve a lower quality video so that it loads quickly, as opposed to giving them a spinner. So it depends. It's a pretty dynamic system, but the goal is to show people the highest quality content that we can.
Okay, now that you have that background, here's a little bit more information. Friend of the show, Lindsay Gamble, who I interviewed about 2 or 3 months ago. If you didn't have a chance, go back and listen. He posted this clip of Adam Mosseri explaining about how stories potentially could be shown at a lower quality. And he posted on Threads, the quality that your video, for example, reel, story, etc., displays on Instagram may impact its performance. For example, if someone isn't watching much of your video, Instagram may reduce its quality. Then he put this video of Adam Mosseri explaining what I just played for you. Adam replied to him and explained a little bit more. And I'll link to this in the show notes so you can read it for yourself. Adam explained, quote, it works at an aggregate level, not an individual viewer level. We bias to higher quality, more CPU intensive encoding, and more expensive storage for bigger files for creators who drive more views. It's not a binary threshold, but rather a sliding scale. I don't feel that that actually fully explains the answer, but it's not like you necessarily are having your content penalized. They're probably grouping users and they say, okay, this amount of users gets 1 million views for each story that they post. So we want to make sure that their stories are always shown at the highest quality. Also, their story highlights are shown to 1 million, whatever it is, this very high threshold, as opposed to someone like me who gets 1 or 200 story views. If I put some of those in my highlights and no one ever watches them, it's very unlikely that Instagram is going to serve those up as at the highest quality. That does make sense. Let's go on to the next question. What's the easiest way to start earning money on Instagram? I'm going to let Adam give his thoughts and then I'll give mine.
The most common way to earn money on Instagram is through branded content, so brand deals. But some creators use subscriptions if they've got content that people are willing to pay for. In some countries, we're testing bonuses if it drives a lot of engagement. So it depends on the creator and what you do.
Okay, now that Adam said how he thinks it's easiest to earn money, I'm going to tell you how I think it's easiest to earn money. Go around your house, look at all the things that you don't use anymore that are probably valuable. Ask yourself, am I ever going to use them again? If the answer is no, take a picture of that item, put it up on Facebook Marketplace, and wait for somebody to contact you and come pick it up. That is the easiest way. It doesn't require thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers. You get rid of stuff. It's a win for everybody. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what to do if you're not getting views on your account and how to think about photos on Instagram going forward. Stick around. Welcome back. Let's continue with the questions from the head of Instagram. The first one, I'm not getting views from my account. Man, I've been there and it is rough.
If you're getting a lot less views than you think you should be getting, go to profile and to account status and see if there's any issues with your account. Maybe some content was taken down, or maybe you're non-recommendable for some reason. But if not, you should be in the clear. If you're just seeing variance, that's okay. Like, I see a lot of variance in my Reels views, for instance. Every once in a while I hit 1 million, but usually I'm at 300,000 or 400,000. So there's like a 3 or 4x swing between the average reel that I post, and that's actually pretty normal.
I understand the concept of there being variation between posts. Obviously, not everybody goes on Instagram every single day, but these wide swings are very concerning, especially when you have worked hard to make a piece of content and the people who have chosen to follow you don't see it. It continues to be that the only solution I have to this annoying problem is to share the content that you've made to your story and hope more people see it that way. The next question has to do with Meta Business Suite for creators. If you're not familiar, this is a tool that you would use on your desktop or your laptop in order to upload content to Instagram and Facebook. Personally, although I used to use the Meta Business Suite to upload content, these days I just go to Instagram.com on my computer and upload the content from there. The question, do you recommend Meta Business Suite for creators? Here's Adam's answer.
If a big part of your workflow is actually on the desktop, then yeah, I think the Meta Business Suite is really helpful. But for those of you that are mobile first or mobile only, hopefully the Pro Dash and the insights in the app gives you all that you need.
The next question has to do with longer reels. Will Instagram start recommending reels over 90 seconds to non-followers? This question is a bit confusing because since the maximum length of time a reel can be is 90 seconds, you actually have to make a video post, which looks exactly like a reel, but isn't a reel, in order to post something that long. Here's Adam's answer to this question.
We're looking into it. One thing that I don't love about Instagram is that the limit of how long a reel can be when you post with a Reels flow versus the post flow are different. And if it's over 90 seconds, it can't be recommended. So there's too many different numbers to remember. So we just got to clean that all up. So more to come.
And the last question we're going to talk about today, are photos really back? I think that's an interesting question because everything really is all about video these days.
There's definitely a trend of people using old school cameras as opposed to digital cameras, but it is still relatively small. The vast majority of what we see are digital photos from phones, and then video is continuing to grow.
Okay, hang on. I missed a question. How should creators think about using Meta AI? Here's Adam's answer.
Meta AI and other LLMs can be useful to creators in a variety of ways. Some find it useful for inspiration for ideas. So maybe send it a bunch of ideas that you've done that you've liked or that have done well and ask for other ideas. Great for some basics like proofreading and grammatical mistakes. I've had other creators use it to help revise brand deals or emails with brands, try to make sure that they sound proper and formal and convincing. Generally, these AIs are really good if you think about how you can work them into your workflows. They don't replace a whole workflow. You don't just hit a button and get an email you want to send to somebody. But if you can describe what you want or do a rough draft and then get feedback on it and have an iterative process, you can really get some interesting results.
Since we're talking about AI, I'm going to take 10 seconds to just tell you that I've been using Google Notebook LM and I've been having a fantastic experience with it. It is completely voice interactive, meaning that you can have a back and forth conversation with it while you're walking around, while you're driving. It doesn't have the limits that ChatGPT does that require you to pay, and it gives you great ideas. You can go back and reference those ideas. Big fan of the Google Notebook LM. If you haven't used it, go check it out. I will link to it in the show notes so you can get there directly. As always, thank you for listening. Be sure to come back next time for a lot more news, strategy, and other things that I'm positive you should be aware of.
Instagram use got you covered. Sometimes even TikTok. Relevant platforms in the metaverse ahead of the wave. Without a break or a pit stop. Still waiting for Zuckerberg to give me the big job. Pause. Use trademarks and logos with Insta's permission, of course. If you like the show and you gain some good info, maybe leave a review. It's a type of applause. Just drop me a message if you wanna collab. If you got some good content or you wanna run ads. At Daniel Hill Media is where I am. TikTok, Facebook and Instagram.